Hey tubers, and welcome to part 8. We're just about to leave Queenstown, and yeah, I like Queenstown. It was nice. The homes are all very, very old, and but yeah, a lot of history. Very interesting place, and we're about to start heading to what's the bloody name of it? Derwent Bridge, guys. So this should be fun.
Well, tubers, we made it up Hell's Pass. And have a look at the day we chose to fucking do it. Jesus Christ, it's blowing a bloody gale up here, you wouldn't believe it. Anyway, we'll start on the downhill run now, and we shouldn't be in the wind.
Well, guys, a great white elephant and Zuki didn't let me down. We made it here to Derwent Bridge, and as you'll see, it is bloody freezing. But, you know, that's Tasmania for you, but yeah, we're out at Lake St Clair, and there's a bit of a... coming up, you'll see it now, there's a bit of a visitors centre there, which was nice because it had a nice open fire in it. And believe it or not, guys, walk from here to Cradle Mountain. That's about 80 kilometres. It's 6 nights out in the bush. Amazing stuff.
The Derwent River, guys. And I'll tell you what, it's blowing a gale and it's bloody freezing. I'm surprised it's even running. It should be ice. Have a look at it. Great. Guys, I don't know if you can hear this, but this is the coldest fucking place I have ever bloody been in my life. It is freezing out. You couldn't get over there to see that pump house off in the distance. But I'll tell you what, the rain's coming in sideways and she's bloody cold.
Guys, I've never seen snowfall in my life, but today is a first in nearly 56 years, another first on this trip. It is that bloody cold. I'm going to hide in this beautiful little tavern and have a nice can of tea and a couple of drinks by the fire, and that will warm me up till I go back to the freezing cold great white elephant. Tell you what, so much for warming up in the bar, tubers. This went on to be the coldest night because it wasn't a powered site. I had no heat, dressed up in 500,000 t-shirts and tracksuit pants, and I still froze. Anyway, we made it to Derwent River, or New Norfolk rather, and it's like a heat wave. It's actually 12 degrees, and it's like bliss. Tell you what, people, I had to go to a place called Glen Orchy today. I just wanted to buy a little bit of warm clothing. For some reason, it's a bit fresh down here. No, just mucking about. And I noticed I was that close to Mount Wellington, just up from Hobart. I thought, well, for the sake of another 30-minute drive, I might as well go and have a look. So, yeah, here we are, and on top of Mount Wellington. Beautiful, absolutely magnificent day. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Unfortunately, there was a little bit hazy over Hobart for some reason. Couldn't get really clear shots. But yeah, came across a little bit of snow. It must have snowed the other day when it was freezing, so there was still a little bit left. A lot of tourists up here and that, and on the right day, this view would be magnificent. I tell you what, you could see for miles. You could look right over, you know, Bruny Island and is it Port Arthur and all of that. So, yeah, get a really fantastic view from up here, and well worth. You know, it's only a short drive to get up to the top, but definitely well worth it.
There's another lookout down there. Let's go there.
This is the drive coming down from Mount Wellington. Not so much here, but gee, in some parts it's a cliff edge, and one little slip and you're over the side, and talk about a feeling of vertigo, or whatever they call it when you're scared of the heights. But no, it was good. You can see where the snow line sort of starts. All the vegetation changes, and there's no big gum trees or anything like that. Yeah, so very, very instructive, tubers. Came across this little place in New Norfolk, guys, where I'm staying at the moment, and I just saw a couple of old cars and that there, and I thought, oh, got to have a look at that. And there was a sign set open and, you know, antiques. I thought, well, I'm going in for a look if they've got a couple of old cars. Boy, was I in for a surprise. Quite a few buildings there and a lot of antique stuff. My dear mother would have loved to have come and had a look at this. Not for the old cars, but for the old, you know, for the old plates and old wares and bric-a-brac and all that sort of stuff. But talk about a dream for a bloke like me, because you guys know what I'm like. I love me old bits of machinery and old tools and old cars, and whether they're going or not, it doesn't matter. This place had bloody everything in it, especially heaps of old trucks. A lot of old Ford F-Series trucks from the 60s and 70s, which, you know, some of them would be really good doer-uppers. A lot of the other stuff was basically rusted out junk. They had a few old Blitz trucks, Ford and Chevy, a few other bits and pieces there, some old machines, a lot of old motorbikes that had been restored, looked really good. But yeah, some great stuff in there. An old pinball machine, it's one of those, you know, an old arcade machine that tests what sort of a lover you are. I wasn't going to try that because I know I'd bomb out and I wouldn't want everyone to see. But yeah, some great stuff in there. Absolutely fantastic. Apparently it's all for sale, except for an old bus, a forklift, and there was one other thing she said is not for sale. But yeah, a couple of these old trucks and that'd be really good doer-uppers. But yeah, I just don't have the space for them. Here's one of these, actually there's a couple here, a couple of these F-Series trucks I was talking about, guys. Could you imagine, stretch these out a little bit, put a bit of a tray on the back, and what an excellent tow car they'd make for a drag car. You could paint them up period perfect. And I tell you what, the old gasser that I've got sitting at home would look pretty good sitting on the back of one of these all tarted up. You can make a real good little drag racing outfit with this lot. Tubers, I got talking to a lady at the museum in Queenstown. A lot of the stuff there was at least 150 years old or more. And I said to her, I wonder what museums are going to look like in 150 years when they're looking at all the stuff that we've got now. And she came back with an interesting reply. She said they won't be looking at anything. I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she said, there won't be anything to look at. We throw everything out. And I thought about it and I thought, yeah, you're right. It's we you know, are obviously a society that disposes of all that stuff when it's either broken or we've run out of use for it, whatever the case may be, and it all goes to landfill. And yeah, I wonder in 150 years what sort of museums we'll have. I mean, you know, we have fantastic photography and all of that now that they didn't have 150 years ago. So I wonder if it'll all be, you know, videos and stuff like that. It's only speculation, of course. But yeah, because of the throw-out society that we are, it makes you wonder if there'll be any sort of museums at all from stuff for like the 2019s and 2020s in 150 years. Interesting thought. Let's see what happens. Not that I'll be around. A lot of these models, I can remember back as a kid, you know, and I can remember seeing heaps and heaps of them on the road. And it's funny how these things disappear, and they just obviously go back to, you know, Sims Metal or something like that and get melted down. And these are the, you know, some of the rare few that are still remaining. But yeah, they were great old trucks, you know, and I tell you what, pretty tough buggers probably used to drive them too. Here's another F-Series Ford, guys, and this is probably one of the best in the in this place. It's very, very restorable, in very good condition. It appears to be pretty much complete. And yeah, it'd make an excellent project for someone. I don't know why it hasn't been picked up. Old bus here, guys, from the Tasmanian bus service. Pretty much had it, but it had a screaming Jimmy in the back. And if you like old diesels, they're the ones to listen to. They had that real howl to them. And yeah, nothing like a screaming Jimmy. Anyway, guys, that's coming up to pretty much part 8. I've got I've got 4 of these to download or upload to YouTube. I've got no data left on my phone, so yeah, you're just going to have to wait for a little bit. Not that you can hear this anyway, but tomorrow we're heading down to through Hobart and going to Huonvale, and then we're going to start having a look at Bruny Island and Port Arthur and all of that. So yeah, lots more exciting stuff to come, guys. See you later.